his parents were possibly growing up in the time when the law was found again. So that's how Daniel's parents raised him. So Daniel and the other 3 people he's mentioned with, normally known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, but were first known as Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Those 3 plus Daniel, they grew up in this time where they were surrounded by godly influence and when they had the law. So when the Babylonians came and took them, they stayed true to what they were taught by their parents and what they believed in, which was the one true God. And then on Tuesday, that's when we actually talked about Daniel and his friends a little bit more. On Tuesday, we talked about how him and his friends decided to eat vegetables and water instead of meat and wine that the king had said he would give them, because they chose to keep themselves pure and clean, because the meat they were given was either against the law or it was sacrificed or blessed by false idols. On Wednesday, we had a fun day. Wednesday, we watched VeggieTales with Jack and Benny. We kept it kind of easy and light, and, VeggieTales is always a good way to start the day. Yesterday, we talked about Daniel's interpretation of 2 dreams and the writing on the wall. And we talked about how Daniel was just an ordinary man that God blessed with incredible wisdom and knowledge. And we talked about how God can take the ordinary and make it extraordinary in so many cases. And today, we finished up the week by just talking about probably the most well-known story about Daniel, which was the lion's den. And we talked about how even though the law had been passed to pray to only a guy named Darius, Daniel still went to his house and prayed 3 times a day in front of an open window towards Jerusalem to remember where he came from and remember to pray. And we talked about how even though this law was passed, Daniel didn't compromise. There was no compromise in his life. He stayed true to his beliefs and he stayed true to what he was taught. So those are just some of the things we talked about this week, and it was a good week.
Now, our hope for all of your kids and for you is that we have the same kind of faith in God that Daniel had in God, and that we believe in Jesus with the same conviction and the same integrity that Daniel believed in God thousands of years ago. And so we have the same opportunity in a culture where things are often against God, that we can stand up for God and do what's right. We can be kind to others in school. We can respect our parents when others don't. And we can have the integrity that Daniel had. And so we wrapped up with that, talking about how by believing in Jesus, we can have that kind of integrity. And Abby was the one who was heading up our verse this week. So the verse that the kids memorized and should be able to say is Daniel 6:10. And it just talks about what Mike was saying at the end, about Daniel having this lifestyle of prayer. And he was willing to pray